Hello and welcome here to the La Liga podcast. Round 21 has been and gone. We have 9 games to discuss right across the La Liga weekend this week. 30 goals in total from those 9 games. Barcelona needing a last-gasp winner from Lionel Messi to overcome Alaves. Atletico Madrid sweeping aside Las Palmas. Real Madrid getting back on track against Valencia. And some really good goals right across the board this weekend in La Liga. And we are going to be discussing all of the weekend's action right here on the La Liga podcast. So sit back, relax, put your feet up and enjoy it. Now, first of all, guys, obviously I realise this won't be everybody's cup of tea. Not everybody really enjoys podcasts, and that's absolutely fine. If you don't enjoy this video, there will be the usual videos coming up on the channel, no doubt about that at all. But if you do enjoy it, please do let me know down in the comments, guys, and let me know whether you'd like to be seeing this kind of video become a sequence, because I started these podcasts at the start of the season. I did them every week on a Monday, but I was never really sure whether you guys fully enjoyed them, whether you wanted to see more, or whether you'd rather me focus on other things, because obviously I've only got so much time, so I've got to try and balance that in the best possible way. So I want to be giving you guys exactly what you want to be seeing. So let me know your honest thoughts in the comments down below. But we are, of course, going to kick off with the action as it happens, starting on the Friday night with Athletic Club against Eibar in La Liga. And that was a very interesting game. It finished 1-1 at the new San Mamés. Athletic took the lead in the second half through Aritz Adaris. Who else? But Eibar got themselves back in the game. Kike scored with 17 minutes to go. And I have to say, this was a game in which you saw Athletic with basically how they've been this season, and I think since they lost Ernesto Valverde, they've really suffered under their new coach Zaganda. Now, I don't think Zaganda has done a lot wrong. I don't think he's a catastrophic appointment. He was somebody who'd come through the Athletic B team system. He'd been coach of their B team for a number of years, so he was pretty much ready for this job, but I just don't feel like they're moving right now in the right direction. And obviously at Athletic, with their transfer policy, they only sign players of Basque descent. It must make it very difficult to change things if things aren't working out, but I just think right now they're very heavily reliant on Adaris for goals, somebody who's obviously not getting any younger. He can still score goals, of course he can, but you can't be relying on a player who's moving into the twilight of his career now to get you consistent goals. They don't really have a lot of other goal scorers. Iñaki Williams has popped up with a few in recent weeks, and that's really helped them. But in this sort of game on that Friday night, you saw them play a team in Eibar who looked really rejuvenated. They looked lively, they looked like they had a lot of energy, and towards the end of the game, especially when Eibar got themselves back in it, there was only one team really that looked like they were going to win this game, and that's Eibar. This is a Basque derby. This is a really big game. 2 teams in the Basque region going head to head. One massive club in Athletic with a massive stadium, a fantastic fan base, against a team in Eibar who are punching above their weight, constantly exceeding expectations. And I have to say, the job that coach has done, Mendilibar at Eibar, has been absolutely fantastic. They operate on a very modest budget. They've got a very small stadium. They've got a small squad, but they've been doing absolutely incredible things. That point takes them up to 7th place. They're just 4 points behind Sevilla in 6th. Now, 7 is probably going to be a Europa League slot this season, expectedly. You know, Barcelona, one of the teams in the Champions League places, will win the Copa del Rey. That likely means the 7th place will then go to Europa League. So Eibar right now currently could be playing European football next season. They're 1 point ahead of Celta Vigo in 8th, and absolutely fantastic for them. Athletic, though, they're down in 12th right now. They've not really done an awful lot this season. It's not been catastrophic, but there's not really too much to get excited about. And I think also, not only goals with them right now, maybe defensively as well. Under Ernesto Valverde, they were very strong at the back. They didn't concede many goals. Maybe they've let that go a little bit this season. 23 goals they've conceded, which is not a huge amount, but if you're not scoring a lot of goals, you've really got to be tight at the back. You've really got to keep it tight. And I just don't think they've really got the balance right this season under Zaganda, and their fans will certainly be hoping for better as the season goes on. And now we move on to Saturday's action, and that starts with Deportivo against Levante. That was the early kickoff on the Saturday, and this was a very interesting game for me, because going into this game, Deportivo against Levante, 2 teams down the bottom of the table. Deportivo started the game and finished the game in the relegation zone. Levante just outside it. So this is a real 6-pointer. You know, you hear that phrase a lot. You know, one team wins and they can really leapfrog and get themselves out of a bit of trouble. And Deportivo started the game, and it was really interesting because Levante started very well indeed. And Depor's fans, they just got hammered 7-1 by Real Madrid away from home the week before, and they were starting to get on their backs a bit. There was a bit of edginess around the stadium. stadium, and Levante did start the better team, but the goal came completely against the run of play. It was Adrian, it was a Lucas Perez free kick into the box. Adrian gets up, pretty much a free header, poor defending from Levante on the free kick, but Deportivo took the lead, and that was a really strange moment. Borges gets himself sent off, his second yellow card. He picked up a yellow within 3 minutes. He got a second yellow by the 34th minute. So Deportivo having to play a long time here with 10 men. And to counteract that, they made a change. They took off Lucas Perez. They brought on somebody a bit more defensive-minded in Valverde just to get their shape back again. But then, strangely enough, they just got a player sent off. Levante were looking good. They were looking dangerous going forward. They get their second goal right on half-time. It was Andone on the 45th minute. And you just felt like that goal might knock the stuffing out of Levante because they were playing quite well. They really didn't deserve to be 2-0 down. But somehow here, Deportivo looked like they were on the way to an absolutely massive win. But with just 10 minutes to go, it was still 2-0 Deportivo. And then the game turned in an instant. It was Evie who got both the goals in the space of a 4-minute spell. It was an incredible turnaround for Levante. Really impressive to see them turn around, keep that spirit. But from Deportivo's point of view, they've thrown this game away. They were 10 minutes away from a colossal win. They were 2 goals to the good. Yes, they had 10 men. Maybe that did take an effect as the game went on, as they got more and more tired. But they really should have hung on to that. It would have been a massive win, and 1 point will definitely feel like 2 points dropped here for Depor. They stay in the relegation zone. They're currently 18th. They got 17 points. They're 2 points away from Alaves, who are just ahead of them, and Levante on 19 points, 16th place. They're only 2 points away from Depor. So very tight right now down the bottom of the league, and a win for either of these teams would have really helped them. And then, of course, came the second game on the Saturday, which was live from the Mestalla Stadium, Valencia against Real Madrid. And this game on paper looked like a really good one. Valencia and Real Madrid both in action in the midweek in the Copa del Rey. Valencia went all the way to penalties against Alaves. Real Madrid suffering that embarrassing defeat at home to Leganes. So Real Madrid looking to bounce back as soon as they possibly could, and that's exactly what they did. But I just had a problem, to be honest, with the way the Valencia started this game. They had Zaza on the bench. They didn't really look like they wanted to go out and get this one. The intensity that we usually see and we usually associate with Marcelino teams wasn't really there in this kind of game. Their fans were certainly not happy with the way they performed, and it was a really bad performance from Martin Montoya, who gave away both the penalty kicks. The first one, Valencia took far too many players forward. They were committing men for the corner kick. They lost the ball from that corner. Real Madrid, credit to them, they broke with incredible speed. They really did complete their passes. They got into the opposition area incredibly quickly. Ronaldo goes down, definite penalty. Montoya makes a really stupid challenge. He's nowhere near the ball. He gets the man, penalty kick. Ronaldo tucks it away. No Diego Alves, of course, in the goal for Valencia any longer. He was definitely the penalty king. Maybe he would have saved some of these penalties from Ronaldo. They got another penalty. Montoya it was again. This time the ball was floated into the box. Benzema was there. It's a bit of a shove on him. Montoya again. You've got to say there, don't give the referee any opportunity to give a penalty, and that's exactly what Montoya did. It's clumsy, it's careless. Yes, it's probably a bit of an exaggerated form from Benzema, but he really doesn't need to be committing himself there and giving that kind of penalty away. So within 38 minutes, Real Madrid 2-0 up, cruising, looking very good. That's not to say that Valencia didn't have chances, though. In that first half, there was Kondogbia on a few occasions who had a good chances on goal. Keylor Navas made some really impressive saves right throughout the game. But overall, Real Madrid probably the better team. They went forward, they did their thing, they were clinical in front of goal. Santi Mina got one back, a header from a Dani Parejo corner. That was one back for Valencia. But then there was a few changes. The game was a bit disrupted. Marcelino tried to change things. He brought on Zaza, he brought on Andreas Pereira, but then there was a goal to kill it all off from Marcelo. 84 minutes, he was sort of darting into the box, gets away from his man, he beats Neto at his near post. I think Neto for Valencia in goal had a really poor game. I think there was a few times that he really could have done better. And then to top it all off, the icing on the cake, Toni Kroos, a fantastic goal. You've seen this goal from Toni Kroos so many times. On the edge of the box, the ball comes to him, he caresses it into the corner. No power needed, no driven shot. It was just finesse, beautifully finished. Real Madrid 4, Valencia 1. But even with that result, Real Madrid for the time being do remain in 4th place with 38 points. Valencia are still in 3rd with 40 points. So Real Madrid with that game in hand, which happens to be against Leganes, they could possibly jump back into 3rd with a win if they manage to get it. As of right now, the Villarreal, they have played a game more, but they are still only 1 point away from Real Madrid in that 4th spot. So Real Madrid certainly can't get comfortable. They've got themselves back on track in this game, but are we going to see that continue, or are we still going to see that inconsistency that we've seen from them all season long? Valencia, though, have to really focus on that game on Thursday. If they play like that against us, I really do fear for them, because they was not at the races on Saturday and it wasn't good enough from Marcelino's men. And then, to be fair, probably the most boring game, or the least, exciting game on the Saturday, or probably across the whole La Liga weekend. It was Malaga against Girona at La Rosaleda. later, and it was a 0-0 draw. 0 goals in this one. It has to be said there was hardly any chances as well. Malaga right now looks really, really bleak for them. They are currently bottom of the league, 13 points, 6 points away from safety. They're 6 points away from Alaves, and they are really in danger right now of falling away and getting relegated. It's as simple as that for them. They don't score goals. They have scored just 14 goals in the entire season, and they concede them as well. They got a man sent off against Girona. Castro got sent off with sort of 10 or so minutes to go. Girona failed to capitalise on that. It was very much sort of an even game. Neither team really overcommitting themselves. Girona have had a great season so far. Really, really impressive from them. They're comfortably mid-table, 28 points in 10th place. They didn't really need to overexert themselves to win this game. Malaga were the ones that really needed the points. They didn't get them. They didn't even score a goal, and it is looking bleak for them right now. Girona carry on strong though. They're just actually 5 points away from the Europa League places, so it's very, very interesting to see them 5 points away from Sevilla, and they're just 1 point away from Eibar in 7th, so still all to play for Girona. So good this season. In the first season after being promoted, they've got some really, really big points along the way, and massive credit to them so far this season. And if that game was a 0-0 draw and wasn't very exciting, the game that followed that was absolute chaos. Really, this game was quite unbelievable. Villarreal against Real Sociedad. You looked at the game on paper and you thought there's probably going to be some goals in this one. Two teams who like to attack and play attacking brand of football. They play good football, both teams, and it was an absolutely unbelievable first half. In that first half, 5 goals. It was 4-1 to Villarreal at half time. They took the lead within 4 minutes. Victor Ruiz with the header, and then there was Pablo Fornals, the man who scored at the Santiago Bernabeu to get Villarreal their first win there. He scored the second. Carlos Bacca scored a really nice goal with the third. He takes it on. He takes a really heavy first touch just to get himself away from the goalkeeper, and then finishes from a tight angle. Then Diego Llorente got one back for Real Sociedad. He's been really, really good in front of goal this season. He's a centre-back, of course, but he does chip in with some goals. I think that's his 7th goal so far in this season. And Samu Castillo getting a goal in the 33rd minute. That was to put Villarreal 4-1 up inside the opening half an hour or so. And that was a really, really good goal from Samu Castillo. Just his 2nd goal, though, in La Liga this season. He's somebody who should definitely be scoring more goals. He cuts in on his left-hand side. He is very left-footed. He's predominantly left-footed. He can't really do a lot of when he's showed down the line on his right foot, but he cuts in on his left. It's a really, really good finish across the goalkeeper. Brilliantly placed. And Villarreal with a huge, huge lead at half-time. In the second half, Sociedad kept plugging away. Fair play to them. They didn't give up. Willian Jose got one back. And then when you got one back there for Sociedad, you were thinking, if they could get another one here, that would be 4-3. They could really put the pressure on Villarreal, but they just about held out. There wasn't an awful lot of action as the game went on. Sociedad was certainly the team who were trying to dictate things. They had a lot more possession on the day, 62% possessions. It's really incredible, really, to see a team like Villarreal, 38% possession on the day, but still winning the game 4-2. But they did everything they needed to do in the first half. They certainly sat back then. They absorbed the pressure from Real Sociedad, and unfortunately for them, and unfortunately for Eusebio, because they're in real trouble right now. Sociedad, who started the season so incredibly well, have really fallen away, and they're in big trouble right now. They're currently in 15th place, 23 points. Now, I don't think Sociedad are going to go down. I don't think they're in danger of going down, but I do think they need to start really thinking about what they're doing wrong. Maybe go back to basics, go back to some of the things they're not doing properly. They're not defending well. To concede 4 goals in that first half against Villarreal was not good enough in the slightest. Villarreal are, like I say, doing really, really well right now. They've done well since they changed their manager. They're up to 5th place. They're 1 point away from Real Madrid. They're 4 points away from Sevilla in 6th. They're looking really comfortable in that 5th place right now, and they're playing some really good football. They've got some very good players in this team. This is without Bakambu as well. It's yet decided whether he's going to go to China or not, but their team right now, full of young talents. The one player that I was really, really impressed with in this game was Rodri. He plays a sort of Busquets role, and he's certainly been aired as the sort of heir to Busquets in the national team as he gets on. He's a very young player, still only 21 years old, but he was absolutely immaculate in that midfield position. He didn't waste one pass. He was very, very careful on the ball. He was always happy to receive it, and I was really, really impressed with what I saw from Rodri in that game, and I'm absolutely sure there's big things to come from him in the coming years. And then on to Sunday's games in La Liga, and there was a lot of goals on this day as well, and it very much started with Leganes against Espanyol. Espanyol here, a team that doesn't really concede too many goals. They don't score many either, but they certainly try to keep it tight under Quique Sanchez Flores, but I don't really know what they were doing in this game because they conceded 3 goals. It was a very, very bad day indeed for Hermoso, who scored 2, I repeat 2, own goals in the same game. He then had a header which was cleared off the line by the Leganes player. That was an outstanding goal line clearance. It was headed off the line, absolutely incredible athleticism. And then Hermoso, in the 88th minute, at least made himself feel a bit better. He got on the right end of the score sheet, scored for Espanyol Espanyol to make it 3-2. But overall, Leganes right now, considering they played midweek, obviously Espanyol did as well, but Leganes don't have the biggest of squads. They're operating on a very modest budget, and they have been doing absolutely incredible. Very similar to Eibar, very similar to Girona. They're all doing very well. They're all batting well above their weight. And Espanyol here, once again, not good enough. They weren't good enough last weekend against Sevilla in La Liga, and exactly the same goes for here. They're lower in the league than Leganes, and the amount of money they spend, the amount of money that's in their squad, they should not be in that position. Hermoso with the own goal. Navarro leveled it up for 1-0. Guerrero scored to make it 2-1 Leganes. Hermoso's second own goal of the game really did kill the tie about 10 minutes from time, and then Hermoso getting on the right end of the score sheet. But that leaves Espanyol in 14th position. They are currently 7 points away from the relegation zone. Like I said, I don't really think they're in danger of relegation, but right now Espanyol not playing good football, conceding goals when they don't really do that under Quique Sanchez Flores, and they really do struggle up the other end of the pitch as well. Leganes up to 11th place, 28 points. There's a real bunch of teams in that mid-table slot. You know, there's a lot of teams there. Eibar, Celta, Getafe, Girona, Leganes, Athletic, Betis. A real sort of wad of teams who could really make some big moves. With a few wins, you can really jump up the table. So it's certainly all to play for there in the mid-table in La Liga. And then the second game on Sunday was Atletico Madrid against Las Palmas. This on paper looked like a very one-sided game. Atletico Madrid looking very, very strong in the league so far. They've only conceded 9 goals in the entire La Liga season. They got the best defence in La Liga after Alaves' goal against Barcelona yesterday. Las Palmas, on the other hand, have the worst defence in La Liga. 50 goals now they have conceded so far this season, and they are deep in relegation trouble. It was Griezmann, though. It took Atletico Madrid about an hour to get going. They were certainly trying to penetrate Paco Gémez. He seemed to sort of deploy 2 banks of 4, trying to sit deep, trying to soak up the Atletico Madrid pressure. Griezmann, though, it was that really made that breakthrough. It was an absolutely brilliant finish. He's put through on goal by Juan Fran. He's running onto it. He's got a lot of time to think about the finish, but it's a really, really inspired finish from Griezmann. He just chips it, lifts it over the keeper. Really, really deft finish, and it was a big goal for Atletico Madrid. That got the sort of gates open. That opened the floodgates, and then Torres added to that goal in the 73rd minute. Another really good goal. It was played into Torres. He had a bit of space. Las Palmas under Paco Gémez, not really renowned for his defensive tactics. Torres gets away from his man with a really good first touch, and it's a really lightning finish. Fernando Torres, of course, not getting any younger, but a really good goal there, rolling back the years and getting himself on the score sheet. And then some unselfish play from Yannick Carrasco in the final few minutes or so. He was in on goal. He had Thomas Partey next to him. He just slides the ball to Thomas, who has an easy tap in to make it 3-0 Atletico Madrid. A very resounding victory, and they keep their pace with Barcelona at the top of the league. They win onto 46 points. They're still 11 points, though, behind Barcelona at the top of the league, but they do extend that gap over Valencia in second to 6 points, and they are 8 points ahead of Real Madrid in third. So Atletico Madrid keeping the gap, keeping the pressure on. Barcelona winning later on, though, of course, so it didn't really account for anything, but certainly a win against Las Palmas, who are in absolutely huge trouble. They're 19th currently. Like I said, they're constantly conceding goals. Malaga are the only team that is currently below them and 5 points clear right now of safety. Alaves on 19 points, Las Palmas on 14. They have a job to do to get out of this relegation trouble. Another penultimate game on Sunday was Sevilla against Getafe at the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan, and another game really that Sevilla were pretty underwhelming under their new coach. You know, he hasn't really hit the ground running. Montella, he's had a few decent results in the Copa del Rey, beating Atletico Madrid in the week. Maybe that took a lot out of them. They did very, very well in those ties, but in the league of late they really haven't been good, and that's why they've slipped to 6th position. They're behind Villarreal. They're not really putting on a lot of pressure for the top 5 or 6 places, but I think Getafe in this game, and Getafe right throughout the season really, have been very, very strong indeed. They've been punching above their weight, and it has to be said that Sevilla in this game, Muriel put them ahead with sort of 18 minutes to go, and if it wasn't for a very, very big mistake from the Sergio Rico, the Sevilla goalkeeper, then Sevilla would have won this game. Getafe getting back into it right at the death in the 93rd minute, and it was actually a very, very bad mistake from the goalkeeper. Angel getting the goal for Getafe, getting a really, really important point for them, but 2 points drop for Sevilla, no doubt about it. They used to have a formidable home record under Unai Emery, a really fortress it was, the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan. This season, though, it's not really been the case. They got the 4th best home record in La Liga, which isn't too bad, but their away record has always been very, very poor indeed. The 9th worst away record in La Liga. As for Getafe, though, really, really impressive from them. A really good point they picked up. They're currently doing well in the league. They're in 9th position, one of those teams who are certainly battling for that European place. They're currently 1 point off Eibar in 7th, and also now just 5 points away from Sevilla in that 6th place. So Getafe, they're one of the teams that got promoted. They've done very, very well indeed since they've come back into La Liga. And now on to the final game on that Sunday, Barcelona against Alaves at the Camp Nou. And this is certainly a game that everybody expected Barcelona to come come into it and sort of sweep Alaves aside very, very easily. But that's not really what happened at all. You know, it was a very strange game the way that it turned out. Valverde selecting a very, very strong lineup, very, very attacking lineup. You know, the likes of Coutinho, Paulinho, Suarez, Messi, Iniesta, all of those guys on the pitch. And I think, like I said in my match review, it was a bit too offensive. There was a lack of control in that midfield, and there was too many attack-minded players on the pitch all in one go. And that was certainly seen in the way that Alaves constantly, you know, caused a threat on the break. It was really, really impressive the way they were going forward, the way they were committing players. There was Ibai Gomez, there was Guidetti. They were certainly trying to make some headway on the break, and they did get their reward through John Guidetti. It was an assist by Ibai Gomez. They broke very, very quickly. Barcelona's defence were far too high at the pitch. Piqué and Umtiti really not concentrating on their defensive responsibilities. Digne and Semedo very high as well, and Guidetti gets a bit of luck with the finish. He's in on goal, he hits it into his own foot, it goes past Ter Stegen, who's a bit confused by the situation. It gets a bit of luck, but Guidetti getting his first goal for Alaves. He's currently on loan there from Celta Vigo, and Alaves had the lead, and to be fair to them, they really did preserve that lead until about 70 odd minutes, and that was really, really impressive from them. They defended in numbers. I think their keeper on the day, Pacheco, was absolutely outstanding. He saved a brilliant free kick from Lionel Messi, tipping it onto the post. There was saves as well from Paulinho and Luis Suarez, but ultimately we managed to make the breakthrough. 72 minutes gone. It was Iniesta with some magic down the left hand side. He puts in a brilliant ball into the box, into a dangerous position. Suarez coming onto it. It's an acrobatical volley. He hits it in the air. A really good finish across Pacheco, and that is 1-1. There was some suspicions that maybe the ball had hit Piqué's hand on the way in, but when you're volleying it at somebody from that close range, as we'll go on to as well with the Umtiti handball, it's very, very difficult to do anything about it, and I think that would have been really harsh to give that one. Where I would agree there was some refereeing decisions is with the Alcácer free kick that gets the goal for Messi eventually in the 82nd minute. Paco Alcácer wins the free kick, but in doing that he does come back from an offside position, so technically Alcácer should have been ruled offside in that one. Messi then lines up the free kick, 6 minutes to go in the game, gets the free kick, gets the goal, and a wonderful, wonderful win it is for Barcelona. We probably didn't deserve it on the day. There was a handball, like I say, a handball appeal from Umtiti. Munir it was, of all people, who hammered the ball into Umtiti's arm. What I would say about this one, though, is, number one, Munir is very, very close to Umtiti when he hits the ball at pace. It's very, very difficult for Umtiti to react and move his arm. What I would also say about it is, his arm is down by his side, in a very natural position. It's not above his head, it's not out by the side. He's clearly not trying to block the ball with his hand. It simply hits his arm when it's down by its side. So I think personally that's not a penalty kick. It's ball to hand. His hand is by his side. There's not really a lot that he can do about that apart from not have an arm at all. So I think that would have been really, really harsh to give that from Samuel Umtiti. Alaves are very, very disappointed with the decision, but that's, you know, how football goes. Sometimes you get the luck, sometimes you don't. We've had a lot of unlucky decisions against us in La Liga this season. You only got to look at the games, you know, against Valencia, the ball over the line. There's been a lot of other decisions as well. Even in this game, Wakasa was on a yellow card and then he put in a shin-high tackle on Felipe Coutinho. So easily he could have been sent off in the first half and then the game would have been completely different anyway. So, you know, some decisions you win, some decisions you lose. I think we've had our bad luck, so fair enough, you know, sometimes that you get the luck, and we probably did that in this game, but ultimately we will take it, and that basically leaves Barcelona top of the league, 11 points clear of Atletico Madrid, and leaves Alaves still in big trouble. They're in 17th place under Abelardo right now, 2 points away from Deportivo in 18th, and just 2 points away from that dreaded relegation zone. So that was all the games from this La Liga weekend. We do have a game on the Monday night tonight, and that is going to be a game which I'll promise you will have goals in it. Celta Vigo against Real Betis. That is going to be a game that certainly will contain goals. And Zoué, very much an attack-minded coach. The same can be said for Quique Setién, and I think in that game we're definitely going to see some really good football, some attacking play. Celta Vigo currently in 8th position. If they can win, they can go within just 2 points of 6th place. Betis currently in 13th, but like I say, a win from then would leapfrog Celta Vigo and they would go into 7th. So like I say, a win in those mid-table places really can rocket you up the league and give you a really, really good chance of having a good season. So it's all about form, it's all about consistency, and tonight that will be the final game from round 21 in La Liga. And I'm just going to go over the action that is going to be coming up right throughout the week in the Copa del Rey and also on the weekend in the next round of La Liga fixtures. On Wednesday it will be the first leg, Leganes Alaves against Sevilla. Leganes playing the first leg at home, and then on the Thursday it'll be Barcelona against Valencia. Barcelona with the first leg in the Copa del Rey semi-finals. And then going to the La Liga games, which will start on Friday. So we got football on the Monday, nothing really on the Tuesday, Copa del Rey on the Wednesday, Copa del Rey on the Thursday, and then La Liga begins once again on the Friday. Real Sociedad will be in action at home against Deportivo La Coruña. Then on the Saturday, Eibar against Sevilla, Betis against Villarreal, Alaves against Celta Vigo, and also Levante then hosting Real Madrid on the last game on the Saturday. Levante, of course, who drew with Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, so that won't be an easy game by all means. On to Sunday, Getafe will host Leganes, Espanyol will host Barcelona, another derby match, another trip to the Conea El Prat to face Espanyol. Girona will host Athletic Club, and the final game on that Sunday, Atletico Madrid against Valencia, a really exciting game at the Wanda Metropolitano. Atletico Madrid against Valencia, one of those two teams is going to drop points, possibly could be both of them. And then on the Monday night, Las Palmas against Malaga, that's a really important game as well. Two teams, whoever loses that game, I think, will be down. I really do think that. I think if it's Malaga, they'll be completely cut adrift at the bottom. If it's Las Palmas, they're in real trouble too, because if Malaga are beating you right now, you've got a serious problem indeed. So that's basically what's coming up in this week with regard to the Copa del Rey and also the La Liga football coming to you from Spain. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, guys, on any of the things that have happened over the course of the weekend from La Liga, anything you want to discuss, any questions that you may have. If you also want to leave some questions down below, I will try to answer maybe some questions if I want to do this podcast next week, but obviously that will depend on whether you guys have enjoyed this. So please do let me know your honest thoughts in the comments down below, guys, on the podcast. Is this something you enjoy? Is this something you would like me to continue? Thank you, as always, for your incredible support, and thank you very much for joining me on this Monday evening. And of course, if this is something that you have enjoyed, guys, I will for sure be seeing you next Monday for another edition of the La Liga podcast. I'll see you soon.